Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Tyleruns Tower Days. This is going to be episode 9. We will be returning. We're going to be working today on the data center. I do apologize for the long delay between videos. I was on a work trip, and then I was learning some new things about the game. As you can see in the top right, we are on version 0.10.12 now. So this is a newer version of the beta than we were on before. Not much has changed that really will affect our run, but we're going to be implementing some VLANs and a couple other things in this today's episode. Let's get into it. The last episode we left off getting ready to move to the new data center. I know this has been a long time coming, but today is the day. So obviously this is our setup down here. Everything's okay for now. Let's head on up to the data center and let's get to work. We're going to be instituting a new core up there, as well as a bunch of DHCP servers and a bunch of other stuff. So today's going to be a blast. So we're going to start out. I want to make sure I've got space on the other side of me. So probably going to build right in this area. So let's get to work. Removing these pieces of junk. I need some 500 pixel server racks. I want these ones. We're going to go right here. We're going to go right here. It's not completely centered. I want to fix that. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it perfectly center, but I want it as close as I can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's close enough. That's 4, that's 5, but they're a little bit different. Okay. Rolling down to the 930s. If you hold G, you can snap objects to the grid. So there we go. Perfect. Let's start ordering our hardware. So we're going to need some new routers. I'm going to start by ordering a Kilo Gen 2. I'm going to get a spline router, beam router, sorry. We're going to go type VLAN in. So I have a couple options here. I could move us towards fiber optic, which would be the smart play, depending. Or I can continue to use my insanely dense Ethernet ports. Can go either way. The Bleed 1515 has a longer warranty. So I don't know. We're gonna start with a 1515. And when we move to getting an additional, we can come back and edit that. We're gonna grab a Bastion firewall. And then we need, what server was it? I think it was the $2,500 server, which is only $200 server. Yeah, so it's going to be one of these guys, the Gazelle. And then we need some aardvarks. So we'll go and grab those. I'll grab the SATAs. And then we'll start racking this stuff. If I grab another rack, put it here. This is kind of a large rack for what I'm about to do with it. But go ahead. Alright, so spline router. I forgot to grab a shelf. and then I'll explain what we're going to be doing. Did I forget to grab my kilo? What a goober. What a goober I am. No, I definitely grabbed the kilo, unless it just came out today. It must have just came out today. Message. Yeah, it did. So it just came out, so we have to wait for it to be in stock. That's fine. I can get the other gazelle that I need, but I don't need that yet, so I'm not going to worry about it. I can get another aardvark. Good. And then we're probably going to hold off on expansion until I need to expand some more. Expander. I need 3 of these bad boys. My kilo in stock yet? Yep. Alright. So we're going to be doing segmented DHCP, segmented DNS, and then VLAN everything. So we're going to be kind of changing how we do things from previous. It'll be fun, a fun change though, for you guys to see. And then I'll explain it along the way. Unfortunately, I have some aliases to make my life easier. I will post those aliases in the guide, but I will explain what the aliases are doing before running the aliases. If I don't use the aliases, there is a lot of manual work to do, and I really just don't want to do that manual work, if I'm being honest with you. Okay. Debugger will go there. That's good, that's good, that's good. Good. Alright. How much money are we sitting on now? Another 10k still. Perfect. Alright. So, we're going to start by putting Ethernet ports, because Ethernet ports are closer. And then we'll put the fibers, because we'll drape the fibers over them. This is going to be the expensive part. Oops. 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11. 12. As you can see, that was extremely expensive to do. But this is enough for 12 floors. So we're going to hold off. I'm going to place a couple of the fibers, so I have them. But this will be enough to get us through what we need to do. So let's start getting the configs going. I need to go grab the debugger. And then we could start adding floors at a extremely fast rate. Where is Mr. Debugger? There you are. All right, floor 15. So not every floor is going to get a DHCP server. Floors that are just producers obviously don't need them because their address never changes. What in the world is going on? What the heck? I'm going to drag this all the way over here so it breaks the cable connection. Alright, that fixes that. Alright. So I need a bunch of UK power plugs. A bunch of Ethernet. I like to segment this stuff out. So purple is going to be our quarantine network. we're going to do orange for our unquarantined network. Stuff that's safe will travel on orange. These are 15 ports each. The 15th port is going to be our uplink. We have, I believe, 12 ports. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12. So 15, 12. So I've got 3 ports left over. This end one is our uplink. So we're going to have a 1 Ethernet gap on either side. This is entirely for aesthetics. This has nothing to do with any functionality. Excuse me as I continue to plug stuff in. That was a fun little interaction. I'm so glad they fixed the music. The soundtrack is so awesome. I don't need 1,000 right now. You need 1,000 right now. Wake. And then a 500. I should probably get another 1,000 for that. Or move these over. Probably actually be the better one. Anyways. For now, we're not UPSing. I will deal with the UPS a little bit later. But that'll start turning everything on. I need one more 500. Need one more purple. 500, right? Yep. 500, 500, 500. Okay, that's all that. And then I need an uplink over to here, so a 500. So I need an additional purple 500. I got that. Okay. And then I'm going to need my server ports. This bottom one we're going to give a fiber. You'll see why later. It's for expansion reasons. I need a red. One, two, three, four. So 1, 2. 4 here. 1,000. And then we got our fibers. So this is another 1,000 in red. Kind of stinks that there are no thousands, but that's okay right now. I'll come back and fix that later. Did I just order a bunch of pink ones? Ugh. Oh, I goofed that up. No big deal. Those are cheap cables anyways. These can go sit over here. Oh wait, no. I needed these. What am I doing? Oh, don't put those there, Tyler. Okay. That should be everything plugged in now. Wait, let's start configuring. Alright. So, we obviously have a core router up here. I am missing a cable. I need U to U. 500 and fiber. Green for core uplinks. Give me my cable. Bunch of blades just got auto replaced. Okay. Alright, let's start configuring. So, net address set. This is going to be our second data center. So this is D2. This is going to be... The way that this works is a little bit different, but this is going to end up being AR2. AR1 is going to go up top here. This is going to be AR2 as well. I kind of just filled out AR2's side, so we're just going to leave it there. Alright, so this is now AR2. So what we're going to do from AR2 is we're going to route... I'm actually going to name this guy first. So net address set at D2 firewall 1. This part doesn't matter as much because this is just going to be all tagged traffic. You're not going to notice this. This is the default, so it'll go out this way. Net address set. This is at D2 AR2 switch 2. You'll switch 1, sorry. Alright, that'll set that up. Alright, so now we're good. So now what we want to do is I'm going to show you what this alias does. I have a lot of aliases. So I'm going to be using fcall. So what fcall does is it's actually going to set up an allow list for all ports. So camera traffic, for example, is UDP5i4. fcall is going to run every single one of these aliases consecutively. So it'll add FCA cam, which allows UDP554. It'll do debug, which is TCP23. It'll add all those ports. You can find this in the guide. As you can see, it's adding all of the ports that are used in the game that are going to come through this firewall. And then on the very last piece, it denies any additional traffic. So any traffic that doesn't pass any of these rules will get banned outright. It won't be able to pass through. So that's good now. Over on this side, we need to start setting this stuff up. So I'm going to plug into you. So we're going to net address set at D2. This is AR, AR2. And then this is going to be poems. Okay. So that's now producing poems. Doesn't need DNS. It's not doing anything. This is going to be a different story. These are interesting. These are going to be hypervisors for specific VLANs. So we actually need to do VM conf on each of these. Obviously, there should be no VMs on here. There's not. And then we are going to do VM configuration. So VM conf create 1, 1, 2. So 1 CPU, 1 memory, 2 storage. Net. Let me just read this real quick because I'm pretty sure it's net address. Yeah, net address. Cool. So VM conf create 112 net adder at E2 AR2 DHCP1. And then on this bad boy. No, this won't be DHCP1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This will be 7. I don't like what I'm doing this. Why am I doing this? Move this up. Alright. Back to what we were saying. DHCP1 on this bad boy. Okay. So I created DHCP1. We're going to create DHCP2. And we're going to create DHCP3. And we're going to also create a DNS server, which is 433. This is going to be DNS. What do I want to name this? Let's name it DNS1 for now. Okay, so all our VMs are running. We should be able to add a route and get to everything. But we're going to do the same thing on this other server. DHCP4, DHCP5, DHCP6, DNS2. Okay. Address set at D2 AR2 HV. HV stands for hypervisor. It's the VM host. This HV2. Okay. Homes. We have our hypervisors. So we can plug back into the router. Now we need to start adding all of our routes. So route add homes via port 1 on route add via port. This is going to be port 2. I need to grab the different Ethernet cables real quick. Otherwise it's going to upset me. 500 and 1,000. These other cables that I have will come in handy later, so it doesn't really matter. We're going to have 2 more servers at the bottom of the rack. Oh, did I just remove 1,000 from the server? That's okay. It's fine. Alright. So I'm gonna actually slow time down. We're doing config work now. We're not ordering anything. Alright, so we're at add HV1 via port. That is port 2. And HV2 is on port 3. And there we go. And then we need to route add, what is it? TCP 833. Moment. I always forget Padu's port number. I have it in my list here. It's 3306 and 5432. Oh. Port 1. I still make mistakes too. Everybody makes mistakes. Alright, there we go. So, now we can start installing stuff on our VMs. I don't want to do this yet. I need to have the VLAN set up before I do that, otherwise it'll start doing some stuff I don't want it to do. So, program install DNS server on it, D1, no, D2, ER2, DNS1, S2. I haven't set that up yet, have I? Nope. Now add at D2, ER2, DNS1 via port 2. 3. HTTP1. Alright, DNS servers were set up. I don't think I added both. I only added the one. It is not 5432. It is 3306. The other port is the other way. There you go. Now they're good. Alright. So now we need to get into VLAN setups. VLAN setups are a very large nuisance to do manually, but I will try and explain them the best I can. So first things first, we need to set up the VLANs across all of the ports. Like I was saying earlier, this is the secondary switch, so we're going to use a different port range. I don't know if I can actually get to this again. So what this alias is doing is it's basically running the VLAN tag command over and over again. So it's VLAN tag port 0. With numeral 30 on this. This is what the alias is doing. But it's running through the entire series of ports and adding the VLAN tag to these ports. If we look, it just added 14. So 14 has number 44 on it. 15 has number 45 on it. 46, 47. Hasn't gotten here yet. It's 47. This is going to be 48. And the command is just running through the entire list of ports and adding those VLANs. I have 3 aliases set up, VLAN switch 1, 2, and 3. VLAN switch 1 sets up 1 through 30. Or sorry, 0 through 29. 2 sets up 30 through 59, and then 3 sets up 60 through 99. The reason this is going so slow is because we're on quarter speed. But once this is set up, we can then do VLAN trunk 1 or 2. And what this does is this is going to ask what port we want our trunk to be. So port 29 is our trunk, and then I need the address. Now what this does is this sets the VLANs on this port to be every single port on the switch. This is what our trunk is, so this is where all of our traffic is going to go out. Traffic's going to come in and that to any of these ports. So let's say we have a client on port 1 here. Their traffic's going to come in, and it's going to come into port 31. When it comes into port 31, it's going to be tagged. It's going to have like a little sticker put on it for hashtag 31. Hashtag 31 is not on any of these other ports. So tag 31 can't go anywhere else. But it is on this port. So it can go out this port to our firewall, which will then send it up to our kilo. Our kilo we'll have to do some additional setup on. But that's the switch side of it. So each individual port has to have its tag assigned to it. And then the outbound port needs to have all of the tags for every single VLAN on the switch. That's everything we have to do on the switch side. So now we're going to come over to the kilo. Kilos are special because they have a different firmware on them. These can run VLAN firmware. So if we take a look at this, I need to use my VLAN kilo 2 command. And our inbound port is port 0. So what this is going to do is it's going to create sub-interfaces on port 0 with all of these tags. I'll show you what this looks like after it runs through. But what this command is doing is it's doing VLAN tag port 0, and then it's adding a .0 for a sub-interface with the VLAN tag number. So our first example is 30 on the router. So what this is doing is it's tagging a sub-interface. So port 0 is this guy right here. And then it's creating a sub-interface denoted by the period 0. And then it's tagging that sub-interface with 30, which is our VLAN tag. Now if I run net port show on here, you'll see that my port 0 still exists, but it's got a bunch of sub-interfaces to it. Each of these sub-interfaces are tied to a VLAN ID. So any traffic that comes in from here is now trunked to port 0. So now what we need is to set up a routing table. So if I were to attempt to ping the firewall, it still works. If I were to attempt to ping this guy, oops, what happened to my sound? Hello, audio? I don't know what happened there. We're fixed now. You can see that the switch is unreachable. That's because this interface doesn't accept untagged traffic anymore. So in order to get to this switch, we're going to need to add a new route. So route, add the name via port. This is port 0, right? And this down here, the VLAN tag of this port is 55. or 59. It's the last port, so it's 59. You can really use any tag and it'll still make it there, but it's going to be .59 on our kilo device. What this does is it creates the route for that device on tagged traffic 59. So now if I try to ping, we can reach it now. So we now have the base of what we're going to be doing. I'll make this a slightly longer video today. So now that we have the base, we can now start setting up these guys. So the one thing that I need to do still is I need to steal the VLAN firmware from the router. And I need to put it on the servers. So we're going to do SFTP ls on. As you can see, there's this vRoute 3 firmware. This allows routing via VLANs. This is not the one that we want. What we want is over here on the switch. So we're going to go ahead and do this instead. We want VLAN firm. VLAN firm makes the device act as a switch, and it makes it so that you can set VLAN tags on any port. So we're going to do SFTP CP then VLAN firm on here to here. And we're going to do it here too. Now if I do program view running on, I gotta check if it's running. VLAN firm is running. So what this will let us do is this will let us configure VLANs on these ports. So if I do vnconf show on, you'll see we have 4 VMs. Each of them has their own virtual port. Net port show on. As you can see, we have an attributes field and we have all the virtual ports. What we need to do is we now need to set up port 0 as a trunk, because this is where the traffic's going to be coming into. And then we need to set up these virtual ports with their VLAN IDs. So based on what we're doing here, we're going to need to set up the trunk right here. So let's go ahead and set up the trunk. I'll do this manually so you guys can see. VLAN tag port. Sorry, it's not port, it's vert 0 with 0 on server. So we're tagging virtual 0 with that VLAN ID. Then if I do a port show again, we'll see that it now has a port, attribute of VLAN tag 0. So we'll do that for all of these. The only one I don't need to do this for, oh no, I need to do it for the DNS still. Do I? No. No, I don't need to segment DNS. Sorry. All right, so now I have the VLAN tags, but I'm going to show you. There's a problem with this. I added DHCP as a route. So if I were to try and ping at D1 or at D2 AR 2 DHCP 1. I'm a goofball. I'm setting up server 2. So it'd be DHCP 4. It's going to fail that ping because the trunk port's not set up. The route's probably also not set up. But you need a trunk port in order to actually allow that traffic to flow. If I did a net port show again, this port right here, or port 0, it doesn't have any VLANs on it, so traffic's not going to flow through it. Which also makes me think I do need to tag that port. So I'm going to tag that real quick. It's not vert. It's vert 3. There you go. And now I need to tag port 0, because that is our trunk out. Right, port 0. I need to tag it with all the ports. And you can do multiples of these at a time. Now if we take a look, this is not going to work anymore. So we can't reach it because our route has changed. So we're going to do a route show on. And then port 3 was where we were at. So I'm going to do route, remove, $. We're on port 3. So 5 and hashtag 2. This will remove those routes. We don't want them anymore. Now we're going to do route add the server via port 3.0. This part doesn't matter. This is just our access to the server. I haven't set up that port. Need to set up that port still. So VLAN tag port 3.0 with 0, 1, 2. Nope. 0, right? Yeah. It's just 0. We have to do these commands separately, because we have to change the interface number. Pretty sure there's only 3, yeah. So now that that port is set up, we can now do the route add. And then we can ping it. Wrong server. And now we can ping HV2. Okay. So now we need to route add all of our interfaces. So I'm going to do net port show on again. And then we're going to route add to all of our different systems. So, HTTP1, via port 3.0, because that's vert 0. I totally goofed this up. I am working on the second server, not the first server. This is actually 4, 5, and 6. Okay, that'll fix that problem. So I should now be able to ping at D2AR2, DHCP. We got a response. So that is now VLANed off. If I were to now add DNS mask, the program install, actually we don't want to do that yet. Net address DHCP. No, net DHCP. Disable on. I want to make sure that DHCP is disabled on all of these before I do this. disabled now. So now we will do program install DNS mask Q on at D2AR2 DHCP4 5 and 6. Now we have 3 different servers. Nothing will get DHCP outside of that VLAN, which is what we want. So now we'll do DHCP option prefix at D2 AR2. Prefixes we don't want to do yet. Prefixes we won't do until we're ready to plug something into these, but these are all now already. We do want to bind the DNS though. So program DHCP option DNS at D2AR2 DNS2. Alright, so DNS is now set on all these. So anything that gets DHCP off the server is going to go to DNS2. Now we'll set up the other server. I'll show you it again. So if I do net port show on, as you can see, we don't have any of the VLANs yet. So now we need to do VLAN tag vert 0. Zero on 1 1 2 2 3 3 4. There is no 4. And then we need to tag port 0 with all those ports. 0 1 2 3. Don't forget the width. Okay. So now this server is all set up with its ports. So now we need to go back to our router again. And we need to rerun the other commands. VLAN tag port, what is it, 2? Dot O with 0 on okay, now we can do route show on. And then I need to route remove anything on port 2, which is 1 and 3. Okay. And then route add port 2.0. And then we need our DHCP servers. So DHCP1 is on 2.0. DNS1. It's not 4, it's 3. Yep, it was fixing the other 3. That's why this looked weird. And then I should now be able to ping everything. So at D2 AR2 /DNS. And we can ping it. So now this is all segmented out. So we can go ahead and install our DHCP server. So DNS mask Q. Alright, so all our DNS servers are installed, all our DHCP servers installed, Poems is installed. Everything should be good to go. So if I do watch at D2, DR2, DNS, we got 28 reply DNS queries. Trying to get it to interrupt. Alright, so that's everything. Once we get to using the DHCP, what we're going to have to do is we're going to... Actually, let's just add a floor. Let's just add a floor and let me show you. I need to set up my core route first before I do that. That would have been a massive mistake. Route add via port 9 on net address set at D2 on route add at D2 via port 9 on route show on. I want to check what my default is. Nope, don't want that. Route default via port 9 on port 9 on that server. Alright, that'll route everything to the core now. Route add at D2 air 2 via port 2. Yep. At D2. Did that work? How did I manage to do that? I must have fat fingered it. I thought I fixed that. That's on me. I'm dumb. Now that worked. Alright. And then we are going to need another fiber. Green. We'll see. We'll see if we can get away with this. I don't think we will. We're going to connect this down to our main facility downstairs. Eventually. Come on. And I think in the next episode we'll start actually adding floors. Not sure if we're going to have enough time in this episode. I grabbed an Ethernet. I am a goofball, man. Alright, 500 green. You can go sit over there. You can sit between these two as well. Don't. It worked. Alright. So, NZMJ. Go down to the data center. Route default via port 4. No, that's 3. That's at D2. NZMJ. Then I need a fiber port down here. We on our core. Our core is full. Alright, we're gonna do something kind of gross here. Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do for now. Plug you in. You hooked up. I plan on abandoning this place anyways, so it's not too big of a concern. Alright, MCMJ to Whitehall. I'm gonna go straight to multi-mode on this one just so I have the 40 traversals. Route, add at D2 via port 4 on 1. There we go. We now have crosstalk and crosslink between our two floors. Route, add at D1. Did I already do this one? Route show on at D2. Nope. Route add at D1 via port 3 on the D2. Alright. So we now have full crosstalk between the floors. I can ping anything down here now. It'll come down the link, go through the firewall. There it is. Go through here, go through the core, and there we go. Alright, so we now have full crosstalk. So, on that note, the new data center is set up. Next episode, we can go on and start adding additional floors. It'll be a fun time. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.